Hello and welcome to Pharmacovigilance Podcast. Today I'm speaking with Dr. Stephanie Jones, who is the founder of Pharmora. And this is the company who just won the Best Pharma Contract Services in its 15 years. So I would like to speak with you about your journey from freelancer to founder and just share your experience. So can maybe you introduce yourself?
Hi, I'm Stephanie Jones. I'm the Chief Medical Officer of Pharmora. Thanks, Julia, for inviting me. It's really great to be here. Thank you. And it's a great topic I know a lot about.
Great.
So it all started years ago when I was working for a large pharma company and I could see everything was being outsourced. And that was 2010. I had the idea and decided to form Pharmora. It was a very frustrating time trying to train people, and it was taking much longer than it would have done to just do it myself. And I thought, hey, I should be on the other side of this outsourcing thing, but doing a good job, doing it really well and providing a really good service. And at the time, I thought I knew it all because I had 10 years in industry. And before that, I'd been a medic in hospital medicine, covering a few different specialties. And I thought, hey, I know a few things. I've got a bit of experience here. I'd worked in a biotech and a large pharma and a local affiliate. I knew what was going on. And also I was a GP, so I had that to fall back on, because I think I would have found it a lot harder if I was just setting up a company from scratch without knowing anything and without having any other source of income. I think that would have been very scary.
Yeah, it sounds like you have a very nice journey and you are getting the awards now, 15 years later.
It just all started off. I thought, right, I don't know where my work's going to come from. So I signed up with loads of agencies. I sent a thing out to all of my friends. I signed a LinkedIn. I created my very first LinkedIn profile that year, and I made a massive mistake. So I don't know if they still do this, right? But when you sign up with a LinkedIn profile, there's a page that says, would you like to send an invite to connect to all of your contacts in your email? And I went, I'll skip that page, because obviously no, because my line manager, everybody I work with, there's loads of people on there. Anyway, I didn't realize it defaulted to yes. So literally everyone in my contacts got an email from me saying I was some freelancer. I was like, so that was awkward. But it did mean that then everybody knew. So pretty soon after I left, there was just a massive amount of work. And so pretty soon I ended up with me and a few subcontractors, and there are issues with subcontractors. You have to give them some training, you have to tell them what their expectations are. And also I was checking all their work. And so really that assured business model that we use now really started from the very inception of Pharmora, because I was doing that, checking and making sure the quality was right from the very beginning. And so I then started to think, well, really, this is a lot more work than I thought it would be. And it was kind of thinking, is it going to end? When's it going to end? When am I going to have this gap and have to fight for my next piece of work? And that didn't seem to be happening. So in 2015, that was a big turning point for us. So in 2015, I married my husband. 10-year anniversary this year.
Congratulations.
Thank you. So, and I'd seen him be really successful. He's a management consultant and a Lean Six Sigma Master Black Belt. And he was telling big companies how to do their business properly. And I said, well, maybe you could come and help Pharmora. And so at that point, that's when it turned from being just a bunch of freelancers led by me to having governance structures in place, HR and IT support, and become a proper company. And then after that, we started to get permanent employees, and it just grew from there.
So if I read between the lines, your advice is to get governance and to get maybe an advisor and think differently, right? To move to the next stage.
I think that's it. I think for somebody thinking about starting out as a new company, I think there are a couple of bits of advice maybe that I 15 years ago, what
Yeah.
I knew it all. And then you realize there's a lot you don't know. And I did try. At the time I was looking for advice. I joined up with this local business. It was a new business startup support that the government was doing. And I went along and listened to the information that they had. And it was useful stuff about accounts, keeping accounts and being a director of a company and the responsibilities you have, because you don't know any of this, and starting your own website. That was fun as well. I designed my own website, the first one. And there was the thing at the time, which was a government initiative again, which was Get British Business Online. And I think 15 years ago, it was probably less frequent for people to have their own website. So I was pretty proud of my first website. And I got some work through it as well. Some of my contacts came through just finding me on the website.
Oh, so you must be very successful in creating it and doing the SEO optimization that people can find you.
By accident at first. It was by a complete fluke. We just happened to be one of the first that did this, and I suppose it was just lucky, because now I've heard of SEO, I thought, oh, I didn't have any idea what what that was. I just happened to stumble across it. It was just by fluke originally. But that is something that's really important now. You have to distinguish yourself from the competition in the marketplace and make sure that your company stands out and that people can understand straight away what it is that you offer as soon as they look at your website. It's difficult.
It is maybe a little bit easy nowadays with all AI help, when you can develop in 1 hour, you can have a good website and you can buy your... Actually, I bought my domain for 20 euro, I think, for 3 years. So let's see if I can have a website with more information. So what about marketing? So how you do the marketing? Because it doesn't matter how great product you are, it's need other people knowing that you are there, that you exist, in what kind of services you are providing. How did you manage that in early days?
Well, in the early days, it wasn't a problem, because in the early days, it was just my network, and people would just give me a call and go, hey, Steph, we need some help with this. Do you think you can do it? And like I say, there was just more work than I could manage. So we didn't have any marketing at all until 2024. In 2024, I think a lot of people found this. There was a really sticky period.
And it is going up and down also for every company. Looking at the cycle, you're small, you go into the zero, then you became bigger, you take the work back, and you became too big, and then you start to outsourcing again. So it's really, it's a cycle. So looking back in the old days, so what helped you to move from idea to action? So what gave you courage to actually to take that stage? Do you remember?
Well, I think part of it is I just always had an entrepreneurial mindset. So I just always had the idea that I've always had lots of ideas. I've always thought, oh, we could do it like this. Or whenever I've seen something, I've always thought of ways of doing it better, more efficiently, better quality, being able to just see a new way of doing something. And I think that was it. It wasn't so much that I was pushed. I really enjoyed my job, but I felt like I was really pulled towards doing something in a different way, to being on the other side and being able to help in so many different ways, not just doing one job with one product, but being able to just have different projects and helping different clients and in different areas. And actually, the very first, because I'd had experience of patient safety and medical affairs at that point when I founded this. And then one of the first jobs I ever got was a study physician, and I'd never worked in clinical development before. But it was brilliant. I really enjoyed learning something new and just adapted. And really, it was a shock to me that, somebody trusted me to do that. And then that I really thrived in there. And then I thought, well, I'll do that for 6 months. And then I was there sort of, I don't know, 6 years later.
Okay, nice. So when looking for your website, I understand one of your mission is quality without compromise. So can you explain what does it mean for you and how it helps you in shaping your reputation?
Well, it occurred to me that one of the things that we can distinguish ourselves on is the quality issue, because I know that a lot of people feel frustrated with sometimes with maybe they've outsourced something and the person they've outsourced it to isn't as engaged or doesn't treat it like their own project.
Mm-hmm.
And I felt like actually that is something that we can distinguish ourselves on. We really do care about every project we do as if it's our very own precious project because it is. And so for me, I felt like we really do want to achieve quality without compromise. But if you look at our values on our website as well, you'll find that our core value is integrity. I hadn't even put it on there until recently, but then I thought maybe we should say it so people know, but that's at the heart of everything. And what we don't want to do is get paralyzed by trying to aim for something to be perfect. We want to also be able to achieve, and we want to be able to meet the client's needs. And so for us, quality without compromise is absolutely nailing it and giving the client what they need, not just figuring out what would be perfect and trying to aim for that at the expense of getting to the end of the deliverable.
Yes, thank you. So looking back on these 50 years of your journey, and can you give example of some very toughest moment for you as a founder during these 15 years, and also what helped you to go through it?
I suppose the toughest moments were when I had too much work. And then I hired a nanny at the time to help me, because one of the reasons that I wanted to do this as well was because I had two small children when I left and set this up, and I really wanted to spend more time with them. So I found that I could work from home, I could work remotely, and it would help me. I could drop them off at school and pick them up. But actually, one of them was very small. He was still a toddler, so I needed a nanny really to help me with him. And then once he started at nursery, really my nanny was really helpful to try and actually do some of the admin that I needed. And then, slowly started to get admin people involved. And actually, I found that was really helpful because there's such a lot of admin. When you're running your own company, you've got the work that you need to do, and you've got your deliverables. And that's what I realized. I focus on the work, on the deliverables.
Mm-hmm.
And really, the clients want you to send in timesheets and invoices and this, and also due diligence. They want to know what your procedures are and your governance. And for me, I was less interested in that piece and more interested in getting a good job done. So it was brilliant when Ian came on board, because he just takes all of that off my plate, and that really, really helped to be able to just say, we need this client's asking for due diligence and I've got to provide a procedure on this and this, or whatever. Sustainability has become a really big deal.
Exactly.
And for us, it's something that's really close to our hearts, because really we want to be sustainable. At home, we recycle everything. We get bamboo toilet roll, kitchen roll, tissues. We try and make sure everything we do is sustainable, but we hadn't really thought about how we document that in work. And so we ended up having to write policies and procedures, and we used AI, of course, because if it's something standard and it needs to refer back to government guidelines or something, it's really helpful actually to have something that can give you a really quick template, and then you can review it and think, right, does that work for what I want? And yeah, so we used AI a little bit there as well to help us.
It's interesting, you telling your story with having the children and running the company. And it's also talking to my friends or the colleagues who I know who started the company. And sometimes I hear one person saying, no, I cannot start it. I need to wait until my children would be at least 18 years old, and then I can do it. And then the other person saying the other way, no, that's the reason actually I started the company, because I want to spend more time with my small child at home, and being a freelancer or running my company, I can really control how much time I'm spending at work and how much time I can spend with my child. Yes.
And it's about control, isn't it? It's being in control of your time. It's brilliant.
And you did mention AI, that you get some help, and maybe can I ask you to elaborate this topic a little bit?
I've been on a bit of a journey with AI the last few years, because I remember finding out a couple of years ago about the SEOMS working group. It's really useful to have some regulation about how we use AI in pharmacovigilance, but certainly from a general business point of view, I think AI is really helpful for summarizing. So if you've got to keep up to date with all of these regulations and everything else that you've got to keep up to date with, HR regulations, not just stuff in the pharmaceutical industry, but everything, and just finding out, just to find out what's going on in every single part of the business that you're having to lead. It's really difficult to keep up to date and to keep your eye on everything. So AI is really useful to just provide a quick, succinct, key take-home messages. That's how I use it. And also to help you when you're drafting some sort of procedures or policies, if they're basic standard policies and procedures, there'll be a template somewhere, and AI can help you to design it, and so that you don't have to start from scratch and really think it through from zero. You've got some referenced, a summary that you can build on. So that, I think, is part of the advantage of AI. But yeah, I've been on a journey. When I first heard about it, I was all fear of the unknown. What is this thing? And then the more I learned about it, I thought, actually, we've been doing this in safety for years. We've been using Bayesian algorithms, and it's just a new word for it. And obviously it's growing. It's not one thing, right? It's lots of different things that are all becoming more complex and more utility to them, looking for different uses for them. So I've been on that journey, and I think a lot of people are on this journey as well, or at different stages.
Exactly. Yeah, from denial to loving and using it every day. Thank you. I'm very happy to hear your story, and thank you for sharing your insights. So we are coming to the end of our episode. Thank you for being my guest in the studio.
Thank you very much for having me. It's been a pleasure. It's lovely to catch up with you.
Thank you, Stephanie. Thank you. Bye-bye.